All right, I'm back. So let's continue the essential terms in financial mathematics. So we have here a simple interest. So a simple interest is computed on the principal and then added to it. Or it is an interest calculated only on the original amount, which we call the principal. It does not add interest to interest. Again, interest only on the original amount, which is called principal. Let's be reminded that it does not add interest to interest. That is a simple interest. So we are going to calculate the interest. We are going to calculate the interest based on the original amount, which is called principal. Again, it doesn't add interest to interest. So we have the formula for simple interest. I is equal to PRT, where P T is time, rate for R, and P is for principal, which is the original amount, and the I is our simple and the rest. Simple and the rest. So once interest is computed, it gets added once and stays the same each period. Again, once the interest is computed, it gets added once and stay the same each period. So this is fixed. Fixed. For example, let's have an example for you to understand it further. Example. If you borrow 10,000 pesos at 5% simple interest per year, per year, per year. So let's try to compute for the simple interest. So I is equal to PRT. Let's say 1 year. Okay, 50,000 at 10,000 rather. 10,000 pesos times 0.05 times 1. Let's say per 1 year. The answer is 500. So meaning your fixed interest will be 500 pesos. So each year you only pay interest from the 10,000, which is 500 pesos. So each year you are going to pay an interest of 500. Same with the next year, and so on and so forth, because the interest is added only to the original amount. It does not add interest to interest. Do you understand? So the interest, which is 500, is the fix that you are going to pay because that is the computed interest based on your original amount, which is your principal. And in this example, that is 10,000 pesos. Okay, now let's move on. What about the compound interest? So it is an interest wherein it is computed on the principal and on the accumulated past interest. So meaning your interest is being calculated based on based on principal and interest from past periods. So for simple interest, it does not add interest to interest. For compound interest, it adds interest from interest. It adds interest from interest. So this means that interest earns more interest, causing faster growth. So interest earns more interest. Again, for compound interest, it is based on principal and the interest that you've earned for the last month or for the last year. So it adds interest from interest. And interest earns more interest. That is our key to ponder. So why does it grow faster? Why? Because every time interest is added, the new total becomes the next period's principal. So how does it works? So let's take an example for you to understand it further. Example. Okay, so let's have here if 10,000 pesos earns 5% compound interest yearly, what are we gonna do? So let's say for the year one, interest is based on our principal, which is 10,000 pesos. So what we got, we will be, we will have 500, just like what we have done in the simple interest. So meaning in the first year, you will have 500 pesos as your interest. So for the year two, interest is based on the interest that we got, which is 500 in the year one. Again, interest is 500 pesos. Same with the formula in the simple interest, which is I is equal to PRP. So now for the year two, interest is based on 10,500 already. Why? Because you add 10,000 and then 500. And so for the, let's do year three. For the year three, Interest is based on 11,025 and so on. Why? Because what is the 5% of 10,500? 525 pesos. Okay, and that's how it works. So for the year three, your principal now or your interest will be based on 11,025 pesos because it is from the original amount and the interest that you have earned in the previous years. This makes compound interest grow exponentially. So again, for compound interest, it adds interest from interest. For the simple interest, it doesn't add interest to interest. So for simple interest, the interest is calculated only on the original amount, which is the principal. While for the compound interest, your interest will be computed based on the original amount and the interest that you have earned in the previous or past interest. Okay, goodbye. See you again to our next lesson.